we have to redact it, we'll get a fee, but other than that, yeah. So
One more question, which is my famous last line. We had somebody in Kansas City, Missouri, an officer tell us when we were trying to report an assault that since it was on a state building, we would have to go to state level or higher. We first actually went to a state official, and she said no, she would need like basically the FBI to go in there. On the FBI's own website, it says that they can't even come in unless they're asked in. She was severely misunderstanding, in my opinion, and it's what the Constitution says. I mean, it is true that you guys have higher authority than the FBI. It's when it comes to local jurisdiction.
So, no. So here's how that goes. Think of it this way. So you have local. Kansas City, Kansas is a special example. So we're the unified government. So usually what you see in a municipal government is you see a city police force, and then you see a sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department is a county responsibility. So if you want to talk about levels of priority and jurisdiction, the police department only has jurisdiction over crimes that occur within the city limits of the city. But obviously the city is not necessarily as large as the county. That's the exception in Wyandotte County because we've combined both the county and the city.
I've never heard of that till earlier today, yeah.
Our city jurisdictions are the same as the counties. So in other locations...
So you're the same as the counties?
Yes.
Interesting.
So
because you're unified, I see.
That's right.
Okay.
So in other counties, whereas the sheriff's department can go anywhere in the county and be within their jurisdiction, the city police can only be in the city. So that makes the jurisdiction of the sheriff's department much greater than that of the city police, whose jurisdiction is the city limits. So you take that out even larger, so you have the state. So the state employees, highway patrol, state law enforcement officers, that type of thing, they can go anywhere in the state is where they have jurisdiction. So whereas the sheriff's department is the county, theirs is the state line. So let's take that into the federal government. So obviously the federal government can go anywhere in the United States and other states and that kind of thing. So if you want to use jurisdiction as a means of saying, well, I have more jurisdiction on this particular phrase, then that would be true. And so that's why the FBI generally will take jurisdiction on things that happen across states because obviously the city ends at the city limits, the county ends at the county limits. So if something happens like between Kansas and Missouri, and we have a bank robber or something that's coming across, a bank robber's a bad example because all the money's going to be insured, and that's what brings the FBI in bank robbery.
Yeah.
But you have somebody who's doing a bunch of drug dealing or something across both state lines, well, that's a criminal's mistake because now he's crossing the state lines.
Yeah.
He's bringing the feds in because the feds are the best able to investigate crimes that occur in multiple states. That'd be a good example for us because we're right here in the state.
So you would have, let's just say there was something where you felt that you just didn't have the resources to handle here. You would have to call in the FBI and ask them, correct? Or could they proactively come without you saying?
So I will say that we cooperate quite...
I'm not saying that you wouldn't, but hypothetically.
No, we do. We cooperate quite heavily with the FBI and federal agencies, specifically because of our location and the border between Missouri and Kansas. So we do have a long-standing relationship with federal agencies and that type of thing, as far as enforcing criminal type of activities.
Because I've seen where sheriffs will kick out FBI of their investigation sometimes. And I was always taught, and I believe it's in the Constitution as well, that the more local, the more authority. Because the FBI is another thing that's, created on a I mean, my whole argument would be the FBI's unconstitutional anyways. Having a federal police force would be something I believe our founders would be horrified about.
Yeah.
Especially when they had all the prior knowledge of what had happened with Jeffrey Epstein and, and the 9/11 and the Boston bomb and all that other stuff. That's a whole nother story for another day. But yeah, I believe that the jurisdiction, because I was actually looking at the FBI website, it says that, they can't come in unless they're allowed to or whatever. But of course, most people are just going to generally cooperate.
Yeah, I mean, why would we limit ourselves to the resources and manpower that's going to help us fight crime?
You're right. And my only thing would be to you is because I don't think that the FBI is the best. I mean, I'd say the average rank and file people are good. But I think that with bureaucracy comes power and secrecy. And unfortunately, it's power corrupts absolutely. The Stanford president. And so it does happen. And, studies will show that psychopaths will tend to gravitate towards positions of power more than humble people like yourself, which is why I'm very thankful that, and this gentleman was very, very polite too. We deal with a lot of people. a lot of people. You guys are very polite, so I thank you for that, and I thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for your
very
time.
candid.
Yeah, and I would say that, I understand the philosophy of absolute power corrupts absolutely and that type of thing. But look at what you gentlemen are doing. You're coming in, you're investigating, and you're making the public aware of a lot of things and that type of thing. So absolute power can't exist while you guys are free to do what
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. That's why Fox News and CNN, with their makeup and their lying about weapons of mass destruction and their money from Big Pharma and the military-industrial complex,
Suck it.
they can suck it. Have a great day, gentlemen.
Take it easy.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
And that's why